Yeah, I'll meet everyone, like. Welcome to the In the Stiffs podcast, like. With me, Sammy Easton from the Toon, with me pals, Gav Cowan and Dave Edwards.
Well, I'm hoping that we can start to make some money in this podcast so HQ can get some air conditioning.
And so when the season finishes, if you're under contract, you're fine.
A few extra gym sessions. Try and get yourself in the best shape possible for holidays.
Yeah.
Just a lack of willpower, really. Just always playing catch-up.
I'd be like, whoa, you're grabbing muscle there. Be careful, be careful.
A club is splashing the money lower down, so like a Wrexham, for instance, now who can offer 3-year contracts on good money. Gary Peters says to me, if you don't sign your contract, you're not playing.
Hello, Pa, how you doing? All right? Yeah, it's Terry Tibbs from Wimbledon Football Club. And it used to be like that. Wimbledon? Yeah, Terry. Terry were the chief scout there.
How much have they offered you? They've offered me $2,000 a week. Have they? He's my best mate, their manager. When I say two, I mean.
Like one agent told me what he said. Your top players on this amount, and I just went, mate, I don't know what you do know. This is Gavin Cowan of Brackley Town.
Speak to you later.
Come on, England. It's a bit flat, innit?
Yeah.
Everyone's a little bit like fatigued because of the weather.
Hot.
Let's get fucking
Say
going
that.
then. Come on.
Let's go, come on.
Keep that in.
First tackle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in the Stiffs podcast. Back today. It's a bit hot. Everybody's feeling a little bit lethargic, but we're going to crack on and have a podcast. Hopefully it's going to cheer everybody up, give everybody a little bit of energy. If you're out on a run in this heat and you're feeling a little bit fatigued, tune into this, give you a little bit of a buzz. How are you feeling, Dave?
Well, I'm hoping that we can start to make some money in this podcast so HQ can get some air conditioning.
Oh, that'd be
Why
unbelievable.
haven't we got air conditioning here, Gav?
There's many reasons. Trying to think of one. Cost.
What I would have done if I built this, I would have got air conditioning in.
Just the spreadsheet of our expenditure. You do know that like there's electricity, there's heating in the winter, all of this that's being used. I'm not just like being a great host or anything like that. It's all going down.
Yeah.
There's a meeting over there. Yeah. So if you want to go thirds on air conditioning, I'm all over it. That's fine.
Yeah. Can we have can someone who organises who runs an air conditioning company get in touch with us?
Brilliant.
Seeing if
Wouldn't
things
cost a
are fine.
lot, would it, to get it done in here? Like in terms of cost, if you were doing it, if you were
No idea.
installing it, cost.
I don't know.
Get in touch anyway.
Anyway, right, what we're going to talk about today, it's the off-season, isn't it? So this is a real interesting time in a footballer's career. It's like a great time in some ways, but it can also be an incredibly difficult time. I think it depends on your personal situation. Now, there's sort of two different avenues you can go down in the off-season. So when the season finishes, if you're under contract, you're fine. You know what you're doing. You know you're at that club.
How
next
good's the
season.
holiday when you're under contract?
You're having an amazing summer. You know what's happening. You're just getting yourself ready for the next season. If
Keep an eye on Twitter and X and see who the club are bringing in. Start slating them.
Yeah.
That new midfield.
He's not as good as me.
Nah, he's not
or if
good.
you're a left winger and like someone else and just you sign 2 new left wingers.
Yeah. My
In
one.
contract, but
Well, I'm in contract, but there's 2 new left wingers, so there's not a reserve for the reserve team. So how am I fitting into that?
My one was you used to sign a left back. I used to be like, oh, brilliant! It's only a left back. Go, but you can play left side centre half. I go, oh no.
any left footers coming
Yeah,
into the team.
yeah.
I remember that's our favourite story that we told when you signed Gavin and Gary Peters said to me, Sam, like, have a word with Stewie Whitehead because you know Stewie will panic about a new centre half coming in. So just make sure, Sam, you tell him that like Gav Cowan's coming in, but he's a left-sided centre half, so he might be looking to play with Stewie. He won't be in the same position. I remember then I went to Stewie and I went, Stew, signed a new centre half to replace you apparently.
Both feet.
He's both feet, but he plays on the right side. Basically, he's like you, but bigger, faster, stronger, better.
He wouldn't have liked that.
No, he
wouldn't have
didn't.
liked that at all.
So he must have had experience of being under contract. So this is how, when I was under contract, this is how it went. We finish the end of the season. You get your fitness program. Like that, when you get your fitness program, think, all right, here we go then. Like, we've got to do all these
In the footwell of the car normally, isn't it? For about 4 weeks.
fitness program. So you go away, you have, well, I did a few times, you'll have Magaluf booked, or Iron Apple booked with the lads. You have a little blast, don't you? Then you probably have another little blast back home. So you probably do a good couple of weeks doing nothing really, apart from having a bit of fun. And then you start to think, right, I'm carrying a bit of timber. I've put on Elliot Stone in 3 weeks in there, 2 weeks in Iron Apple.
Yeah.
And then you think, I'm going to have to kick back in. And then you try and get yourself fit. Is that how it went for you boys when you were under contract?
I reckon mine was very different to Dave's. I reckon my approach was it.
I was quite similar. I think when I was younger, so I did all the lads' holiday things. Absolutely, yeah, loved it. Looked forward to it. The last 2 months of the season, always thought when you get to March, it's like, right, we're nearly there now. And if you're not fighting for relegation or
Comfortable.
yeah, do you know what I mean? You can really enjoy that last month of the season. But you're almost preparing for your holidays, a few extra gym sessions. Try and get yourself in the best shape possible for holidays.
Yeah, your plan says cardio, but you're doing
March in
aerobic
April,
stuff.
it's all about sit-ups and bicep curls. Isn't
But
it?
that used to backfire though, because as I got older, I used to do the body fats at the end of the season to then come back in similar shape. And I was always in the best shape at the end of the season because I bashed gym. So all my upper body was in that thing. So harder to come back to. But
you know what, just a quick one on that. Like, a few teams I did used to do that where you do like a bleep test like at the end of the season and like, but like obviously some of the other lads, but I was clued up, wasn't I? So I'm like, whoa, bleep test end of the season, they're going to measure me against that first week back. I'm like,
Bleep test's all ego though, isn't it?
Steady away,
Bleep test's ego because you're like, look, let's just stick together. Like if we all just like, finishing in around 12 and a half, we'll all be all right. And then ego kicks in and you're like, I've got to beat him, I'm going to do him. You know, it all goes out the window, doesn't it? Like you say, at the end of the season, if you're clever, you go, how'd you get on? Oh, yeah, 11.9. And then you come back and do like 13.2.
looked after himself.
Yeah.
kept himself right.
He's done well.
Done all
there.
right, Gaffer. Being like, I'm on it. This
Yeah,
season,
yeah.
But I said, it's when I was younger though, I reckon before the age of 21 maybe, I would, as soon as season finished, I'd carry on doing running. I'd just run. I wanted to go back like unbelievable shape. I'd go out and do all that sort of stuff, but I'd run and I'd come back absolutely flying.
You're right, it's very different. Very different.
But then I remember when one of my last seasons at Shrewsbury, my second to last season at Shrewsbury, I was cooked in October. Body just done. Remember, I had a double hernia operation. I just hadn't had a rest. Literally from the day I finished, I went through. I was just, I'm going to be the absolute best I can be, and it just caught up with me. And from that day forward, I remember speaking to fitness coaches, older professionals, and they said like, you have to have a break. Your body needs that break. And at the time, I didn't realise that. I thought, well, if I lose 2 weeks,
Great intentions.
I'm not. Yeah, some good intentions, but it was detrimental to my body. Yeah. But then after that, I was those first 2-3 weeks, nothing. I would literally do nothing. I would just go away on holiday, eat what I want, drink what I want, and I'd put on weight quickly, massively. But then I'd start to then taper back down. But there's panic there. Then, I left it too late. Yeah, that panic.
It's almost like, when you used to get yourself in arrears and you'd be like, right, the plan's there, right, today I can do it. And it's like, oh, like family day out or whatever. And you're like, it's all right, I'll do it tomorrow. And then the day off in that week in the plan, you've got to do a bit Monday, Tuesday and a day off Wednesday. So you then get roped into something on a Monday. You go, it's all right, I won't have a day off on a Wednesday. And then you get there and you go, I've got to have the dance on a Wednesday because it says day off. So in the end,
don't go 3 days.
In the end, I always used to, and like, it's just a lack of willpower, really, just always playing catch up. But then with the last 2 weeks in, which you can never really do too much in 2 weeks, I'd proper be on it, like absolutely, because I could just see the finishing line of the off season. I'd be like,
diet was elite that last week, isn't it?
Absolutely unreal.
You're not eating.
No, you're not eating. Like you do everything. You're doing 2 sessions a day, trying to do everything, knowing even that because you're training on your own or with a like me and you used to go and do a bit, didn't we? Like you're just never going to do enough to replicate.
You're like an MMA fight, right? You're trying to cut and make weight.
Yeah.
That's what it's like that last week.
Not
good for your body.
I'm not eating or drinking 3 days before, so I'm going to get weird when I get back in.
Yeah.
I was saying, me and David was talking before, and like, we used to use the pincers. So you'd come in and do the fat content.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do it now. And they're like pinch part of your body. Yeah. I'd be like, whoa, you're grabbing muscle there. Be careful, be careful. And they'd be grabbing it. And they'd be grabbing it around your hips and it'd be like, 14.2. I'd be like, what's 14.2 what? Is that, what's that, centimetres? What's that? Like,
They do the pinches now, so it's normally bicep, tricep, is it like what is it? It's
Do your back, don't they? 'Cause they used to be all like
back,
that.
triceps, biceps. I used
Go
to,
on your back, you'd be like, oh, look at this back, fat man. Is this going to be
Mate,
massive?
Gav, I used to remember you, mate, used to hate it. So Gav was always like lean, but then his back measure always used to be like double figures,
you know,
wasn't it?
Stretch Armstrong. Honestly, they used to do my bicep, my tricep, my abs, and all that. And go,
Yeah, I'm all right.
"Fucking hell, Gav's in, like he's come back ripped." And then on the back, they literally get it and go, and they go, "Yeah, Gav, your body fat's like 15 or something." Like I go, 15, and everybody's like,
It's just your back.
You should go fitness first, mate. You should be rowing everything.
but the thing is, on the beach, you can't see the back, can you? So you're like, look at that, look.
Exactly.
Oh, mate.
You could get your head around it, could you?
No.
I remember, mate.
What? Like, why is that happening? You're doing it too, like you're pinching too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my favourite. Me muscles. You're grabbing me muscle there. What are you doing? Get off it.
Oh, remember that.
When I remember signing for Tranmere, and we had Steve Wilson, this goalkeeper, and he was only like 5'10". So me and him signed at the same time, and like a few of the lads didn't know like who we were, and we've done running on like the first day, and he's finished like 8th in the running, and I finished like towards the back, like I was always like towards the back in the long runs. Everyone's going like, "Are you the keeper and him the winger?" And I was like, no, mate. I was like, he's the keeper and I'm the winger. And they're going, we are in trouble this season. Then our keepers come 10th and our wingers come to 8th last.
Keepers are different now, but back in the day, flipping it.
You had to beat the keepers though.
You had to beat the keepers, didn't you? Like, that was my whole thing. Look, if I don't beat the keepers, I'm not going to be able to sleep.
As I got later in my career, the keepers never really joined in those sessions.
No, that's
Whereas
interesting.
when I was younger, they would go and do their own stuff. Why do the keepers need to be able to do those runs? You know what I mean? So they would do more power work and do a bit more on the bike and stuff like that. And their hard sessions would be like, you know, the ones where you're diving all over the goal, you've got to get back up quick.
yeah,
They were absolute killers for him, but that would be more their pre-season than running around the pitch, which makes sense.
I remember doing this first time. My first pre-season at Newcastle with Kevin Keegan. And we remember just like running, like everyone doing it from like like schoolboys, YTs, just running, doing laps and laps. Then Tranmere on the sand dunes and that. And be going like, and you always get to see the lads at the front. You always talk about that. Oh, well done.
Yeah.
It's not Tranmere Olympians, is it? Tranmere Harriers. This is brilliant, isn't it? You'll start. Remember, Sedge was always the one. Jake Sedge always won the running. I was like, can't kick a ball, but he wins the running. Brilliant, Sedge.
We'll see what happens when the balls come out.
Yeah, when the balls come out. He's in trouble when the balls come out. He is Sedge. He'd be in trouble then.
God, he could run, couldn't he?
Yeah, he could run though.
10K, 10 touches.
Yeah. I remember as well walking past Timo when he was working the keepers.
Oh, he was brutal.
And I was like, lads, just when it goes near that big like metal thing with the net on it, just push it away. Or if it's in the air, just catch it with both hands. Honestly, it's really easy. And he went to me, "Oh, easy is it?" I was like, "Oh, flipping heck." I said, like, obviously you get bullied if you're in goal. I used to do the whole thing. If you don't make it as a player, you're trying as a keeper. He went, "Come and do a session and all that." So obviously they're having a bit of a laugh, and he went, "Come on, we'll do 5 minutes at the end of the session." Oh my God, it was embarrassing. I couldn't get up, time, hold.
That's impossible.
Like, oh mate, so like ridiculous.
Anything now, keepers.
Yeah, unreal.
Didn't used to be. They used to be a bit heavy in that.
Yeah.
Someone like Tommy Wright and John Burridge, all that.
Neville Southall.
Neville Southall. Yeah.
Like Peter Shilton was a bit of a podge, wasn't he?
They weren't really like. I mean, they all I see that Italian one and that. They're all unbelievable.
Like Joe,
now.
you look at Joe, don't
Yeah.
you? His absolute jawline, like his shoulders, he's incredible. Well, when we went to his gaff, he had that flipping squat rack and everything in the lounge, didn't he?
I think if you're under contract and you haven't got people sniffing around you or anything like that, you pretty much know where you're going to be next season. It's quite a nice time, isn't it? It's a lovely time actually.
On that though, because I only had a couple of seasons I reckon I had about 3 or 4 seasons where I was still under contract. A lot of, obviously, at a lower level, it's like year after year after year. So I didn't have the opportunity to experience too many times, but did see like lads at the level, and probably not so much at the higher level, Dave, or in the league per se. Do you think they got complacent if they had like a couple of years? Because I would notice.
Dave
absolutely didn't. But like,
I was 100%. I went out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but there's that's the danger, isn't it? When a club's offering, I suppose, more so at a lower level where mentality's different.
Yeah.
Are they getting a bit complacent because they know they've got a 2-3 year contract?
Yeah, I'd say if it was a club who's splashing the money lower down, so like a Wrexham, for instance, now who can offer 3-year contracts on good money, you can see possibly that's down in tools. If they know they're good enough for the level anyway, and they're being brought in from a higher level, you think, well, I only need to be at 70%, I'll be signed. But I think at the top level, I think, because you get found out so quickly.
Yeah. And is it even about that when they're getting offered 4, 5, 6 year deals and stuff like that? You know?
Regardless, if they're in their last year, as long as they don't get a bad injury, which touch wood they don't, you know you're going to get a good contract somewhere else anyway because you're at that level. And it's more detrimental to you if you're not.
Yeah.
You don't want to get a bad name for yourself for being complacent, not coming back fit.
Because I had the same conversation with like a lad who played for me last season, Connor Hall. His brother's obviously Lewis Hall, who plays for Newcastle. And I was like, he went from Chelsea. And I remember saying, oh, like, what's he? And he said, I don't know for sure, but it's something like a 5, 6 year deal.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my days. Like, he was like, yeah, but I was like, you know, obviously his agent's done him a worldie there. It's irrelevant to him. He just goes in and plays football. Like, I think because when they've come through that academy system and they've always had like 3, 4 year deals, they're just like, I just want to get in the team. I just like, it's a bit irrelevant to them, isn't it? It's almost like in the background, they're not even thinking about it.
Yeah. Whereas lower league, it's
Lower league,
isn't it?
well, yeah, for me, if I could get a 2 year deal, I was like, I had 2, 3 year deals that never saw out the term because they found me out. And then a couple of 2 year deals that you're just like, oh, what a touch. Just because, again, you're living on the edge, aren't you?
And what's the difference between 3 and 4 or 4 and 5? Whereas lower levels, the difference between 1 and 2 is huge, isn't it?
Yeah, massive.
Oh, yeah. Massive. Well, if you had a 1 year contract, you can't like put down any roots, can you, or anything? You're not going to buy a house. By the time you bought a house, it's December. Or like whatever. So you're not really going to do that. But under contract, we always give you that security, didn't it? It was always better. It was a great time. You try and, like you say, you'd have your holidays, and you try and get fit and have a full-on like panic, wouldn't you, about getting fit? But that was still like a pretty good time, wasn't it? All you're worrying about was your fitness. Yeah. Right? It's the same as you lads. You'd be paranoid when like you try and do your run in the morning. If you hadn't done your run in the morning, you'd think like, oh my God. You get your mates going, fancy a couple of pints, you'd be like, Can't really.
Yeah, go on.
Or I'll go for
Not really,
couple
but what
and-
time?
Yeah, I'll go for 1 and then I'll do my run later.
Yeah.
That is never in the history of football ever happened. Just meet us in the pub, we'll have a pint or we'll have an orange juice, and then we'll go for a run later.
Can I just say though on that, and I say the same to my wife, right? When that does happen, because it has happened on a few occasions, I'm telling you now, I genuinely believe in my head I'm going for 1 pint. The intention is I'm going for 1 pint now. Listen, I get it. There's a level of stupidity because every time I've ever done it, it's ended up being however many. Yeah. But genuinely, I believe that I'm going for 1 pint. But it's just, you're never going to go there.
Holly used to, Holly said to me, don't lie to me. I said, like, no, at the time, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when I say I'm going for 2 pints, that is not a lie.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I'm convinced I'm doing that. So it's not lying because I'm...
And when you've done that, normally I get a text.
But when I come in at 2 in the morning, that's obviously, I haven't lied at the time. I haven't had the willpower just to do that.
I normally get a text from your Hollies. You've thrown me under the bus. And it's Gav's fault. He wouldn't let me go.
Yeah, and I haven't done a run. Like, have you done a run? No, I didn't do a run. What did you do? I went out. You have any food? Yeah, I had some food, but 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, done a kebab.
But these just can't do that. Look, can they say lads will do even at Brackley's level, don't they? No one's doing that.
Mate, do you know what? When you say it, like, it's almost an insult. Not that you're trying to do that, but when you're saying even at Brackley's level, these lads now, we go back tomorrow. Like today being what it is in the grand scheme of it, but we start back tomorrow pre-season. I haven't got to be concerned about how they're coming back. They will be in great nick.
You're not panicking going, what? I can't. What's he going to look like?
No, the new signings will have almost like a second medical. It's like a lower level. They've all had their medicals and they have a lower level medical, and then they'll all do their kit. They'll all come in. They'll do some gym work. So they do photos. They get distributed their kit. Then they'll do some work in threes in the gym. And then they'll sort of move around in like a bit of a system where they just do a bit of testing, and then we'll just do like a bit of a fitness exercise up on the 3G, and they'll be done. But like they'll walk through it. Like it won't even super fit.
So that you're not just getting them back first day pre-season, just running them.
No. It's just, again, I think as well there's a level of respect because they've gone and worked so hard and they've worked on the off season. When they come in and they do that, like they will get weighed and everything tomorrow. The calipers will be out and all stuff like that.
Stop pinching that muscle. That's muscle.
Yeah. There will be almost like a reward from us to say, look, we can see that you've done the work. There's no need to go and flog them. But then on Saturday we'll have a double session, so that'll be slightly tougher because obviously, and then. Yeah. We've got a pre-season tour the week after.
The lads still having the same banter. Like he's had a good holiday.
Yeah.
Lads, come and look at him. He's taking his top off.
It's just the bar's a lot higher. That's all. So where they used to come in and you'd have a couple of rolls. Like I remember at Exeter, Darren Robotham coming in and being proper like 2 stone overweight and going, well, that's what pre-season's for, isn't it? To get fit. That's what it's like. Not really. You got to hit the ground running and.
remember Lee Clark tells us about, you went to see Mike Cooper. Like, remember Mike Cooper, the keeper?
Yeah.
Like, he had the capacity to put on weight. So Lee Clark went to see him. And he's like, he lived in like the stables where, you know, you have like two halves of the door.
Yeah.
So he's opened the top half of the door, and like Lee Clark's taught me, he's like, oh yeah, Mike, you know, back at training, aren't we, soon, and all that. He's gone, yeah. Lee Clark said, he's opened the bottom half of the door. Lee Clark's gone, flipping heck. He's like, what's happened there? I remember, like, for the first week, he was just sitting in the sauna with like a black bin bag on all the time, just trying to sweat it out. I don't know if that's a try.
Done the bin bag before?
Yeah, I used to wear a bin, like when I was younger, I used to have a bin bag on pre-season. I thought that would work. I'd cut the arms out, wear it underneath.
Brilliant.
I'd be like, yeah, I put on a little bit of timber, but like, if I can stick a bin bag on, yeah, this will be off in no time.
Yeah.
Dehydrated.
Yeah.
Dehydrated.
Yeah. Totally flagging, can't get through the session.
I
Yeah.
told you the classic when we used to do it with we had Bobby Saxton as our manager, and Bob wasn't Bobby Saxton. It was Jim Davison when we were at Northampton.
The game show host.
Yeah. I was trying to think of
Big
the
break.
catchphrase there, but I couldn't think of it.
No, he wasn't
And he was
catchphrase.
like-
Big
it
break.
was-
It was
we
like.
were
Generation
training
game,
him,
wasn't
and he
it?
was telling us not to drink water. Don't drink water. Don't drink water. Don't be pathetic. Don't be weak. Don't drink water. I was like, what? What is this like?
I remember Brian Little telling us the story. Obviously, just broke into the England squad. He's 27 years old. Done his what's turned out to be his cruciate. And rehab was, he was sitting on a table with his knee bent over, and they were putting weights on the bottom of his leg to get him to pull it up. But obviously, like, it's like literally the worst thing you can do for it, and he had to retire. So just obviously, it's come along so much now, isn't it? He just got in the England squad. How's your luck?
I must just mention Bobby Saxton. Tell you a funny thing about Bobby Saxton. Bobby Saxton had to retire from football because his wife was reversing the car into the garage, and he was saying, "Come on, reverse, keep coming, keep coming." He's obviously pressed the accelerator, reversed into him, hit him, and broke both his femurs.
Oh,
Both
wow.
his femurs. And I was like, I remember him telling us, and I was like, Sacco, are you still with her now? Like, because that must have been a tough conversation, isn't it? When you come round and you're like, you shouldn't have pressed the accelerator.
It's not
And
like
the pain as well, that femur.
it's not like she's burnt your shirt while she's been ironing it.
It's not a small thing, that is it? Like, it's broke
I'll get
both
another
your
shirt.
femurs and
You
never
get
play
another couple of
football
legs,
again.
can't you? You'll be all right.
And anyway, they were still together, so obviously got over it.
Wow.
Like, I wonder if she did that on purpose.
So,
Mental.
should we talk about being out of contract? then?
Out of contract.
Happened a lot for me.
Said that
Happened a
and
lot.
It happened a few times.
I used
It
to. I
never
used
happened to
to.
you, Dave, did it? You said really where you were out of contract, but like you sort of didn't have anything lined up. You always had something.
No, it was just 3 times I've been gone out of finished the season and my contract's been ending. Once was at Wolves, but I was off the back of I was nervous during the season, but I scored 9 goals after Christmas.
Oh, that helps.
Yeah.
I wonder what the motivator was for that,
mate,
Dave.
so I was flying.
Is that no contract on the horizon there?
And I knew Wolves had offered me something, but I wanted to get another year out of them. That other interest, so that was fine.
You weren't really out of contract. You'd been like when you were out of contract, but you had something
an
on the
offer,
table already.
yeah.
So
That
straight
don't
away,
count.
Worst, that doesn't count. I'm not having that. I'm not having that as a hard luck story.
Nah.
Dave Fanny, I've seen
Yeah.
it. At the end of the day, so you basically got that in on the back.
I mean, they'd
burner,
offered
but you
120 grand a week, but
Another
just wanted 8
situation
years
where I had
instead of
something on the
7.
table, but it was completely different. Was when I left Shrewsbury when I was younger. So I got offered a contract in like the February on the Gary Peters. My agent and stuff at the time was like, hold out because you've got a good chance of moving on and things like that. I was trying to play as high as I could. At the time, I was on £400 a week at Shrewsbury. They offered me £600 a week to stay, and I was like,
great
I felt
deal.
like-
Deal for you, Dave.
I
That.
felt like I was one of the best players in the team. I knew other lads, I know they're older, but they were earning like over £1,000 a week. So it was easy. It did me a favour. It's easy to turn down. But once it got to the point where I said that I was definitely not going to sign, so this is like the April time.
As in, you weren't going to sign that contract, or you weren't going to sign full stop.
No, I wasn't going to sign at that time. I was going to wait till the end of the season, taking all my options, and then make a decision. It wasn't I'm not signing. It was I'll get to the end of the season, then I'll see what's on the table with other teams and things like that. Now I can make a more educated
Down
decision.
well with GP, yeah.
Loved it, yeah. But then, because I was under 24, I was 21, they started to try and build a case of compensation. So all of a sudden...
Which would have been quite good, Dave, to be fair.
Yeah,
obviously you come through the system.
Not
when they've
for me.
offered him £600,
Yeah, not when they've offered me £600 a week.
Okay,
we value him at $3 million. What if you offered him £600 a week?
Yeah. So that's basically what happened.
helped.
But then, as it got towards the end of the season, got to the playoff final and Gary Peters said to me, if you don't sign your contract, you're not playing. And obviously said I'm not going to sign. Not that I'm never going to sign, but I'm not going to sign now. I want to see.
Just on
Didn't
that,
play.
just to stop there. Like, how horrendous is that?
Yeah.
Talk about cut your nose off to spite your face. That is probably one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard from a manager.
Stubborn though, wasn't he? Like
He was stubborn.
Oh,
yeah.
mate.
I wasn't in great form, to be fair, but still at Wembley, like the way I could run on that big pitch, I think I'd have made a big difference in the game. But at that point, after that, then all of a sudden I got an offer off Shrewsbury for £1,000 a week. Because I knew at that point then it was almost like I couldn't go back after that. So the bigger offers started coming and they're building their case for the compensation. But that's the first time I've really been there. So I remember my last conversation with Gary Peters after he said, oh, you're not going to play. I thought he was bluffing a little bit, and I told him I wasn't going to sign. And he's like, fine then, get your boots, you're off. I was like, oh, never mind. But his last thing he said to me was, just to let you know, not one person's rang about you.
It's nasty, that, isn't it? It's the less.
I know.
So in my head, I'm thinking, oh, shit,
no,
what have I done?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But anyway,
Was that a lie as well?
well, I don't know if anyone spoke to him, but like I remember on the phone to my agent, like as soon as I got in the car and stuff like that, and he's like, "No, don't worry, it'll work itself out. You've had a good season."
Is that from GP?
But he did it to me, didn't he? When we played against Bristol Rovers, we were going out, and as we went out, he stopped me like that.
Yeah, I remember you
and
said
he
that.
went, if you don't play well today, you'll never play for me again. And Mick Wadsworth, to be fair,
He
went,
said, yeah.
Gary,
Yeah,
you can't. And I just walked out like lower than a snake's belly.
What? Like what?
Yeah.
What a
And
management strategy
that's the most nervous I've been. So then I went on I went to watch the playoff final,
Yeah.
and I went on holiday. I went to Cancun with my mates.
How did you feel? There?
So again, I
So you didn't travel with the squad, Dave?
no, I went down on a supporters bus to the game, watched the game.
Mate, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
Mental sat in the back. It was weird. I wish I hadn't have gone, really, to be fair. It's just weird, but yeah, I went to Cancun on holiday. Still had nothing. I spoke to one person. I spoke to Barry Fry and Darren Ferguson at Peterborough. At the
I'd
time.
love to have listened to that.
And they were in League Two, and they weren't in the playoffs. But it's just as they were starting to spend a bit of money, they were buying players from the lower league or teams around the better players, and it was obvious they were going to got the following season. But in my head, I was thinking I can't sign for them because they're in League Two. I told everyone I want to like progress my career, even though it was probably a better place to be than Shrewsbury at the time. I thought I can't sign there, but I met Darren Ferguson. I really liked him. Thought he was good. Met Barry Fry then at the Village in Walsall, just off the M6. Great conversation. He's funny, and he was there. He said I had the contract in front of him. And I was like, I just need time to think about it. He goes, another £100 then if you sign it today. And I was like, no, I need to go home and speak to
I'm not going to
people.
take £100.
Yeah.
Keep going.
He did it a couple of times though. He says, go on, we'll go to that. But yes, they were offering me at the time. They offered me more than what I signed for Luton. They offered me £2,000 a week.
Wow.
Peterborough did.
In what division?
League Two as a 21-year-old
So
in 2006, 7.
I've got to say, Dave,
2007.
as well, that's massive credit to you because, again, you could have just done that. You would have been in the same league. There wouldn't have really been a massive amount of progression there, but it was never about the money. It was about really
I
progressing your career.
needed to go to at least League One. But I had nothing else on the table. I was starting to think, no one has actually spoke to Gary. So I'm in trouble here.
Yeah.
Now, I remember I got a phone call when I was on holiday. My agent, he said that Luton were interested. They'd sent a contract for already, but they want to obviously meet you when you get back. And they'd just been relegated from the champ. So I thought they got a decent chance at going back up. So I went down. And that was all fine then. So I was a bit comfortable with that. Unfortunately, it was just as they started to go into financial troubles after that. So I wasn't there very long, but that was good. And then the other time we had a contract is the very end where I had nothing. I didn't know what was going to happen after that, and that forced me then just to say, right, I'm going to go part-time.
Too old.
Yeah. Too old.
Too old.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's,
Are you boys?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've had a lot worse than that.
Yeah.
No, I remember
That sounds like a dream,
going
to be honest.
Disneyland, and I remember for 2 weeks when Madeline was little, my daughter, and I'd had nothing. I can't remember. That must have been after Shrewsbury, maybe. Was it even after?
I remember me and you having a cup of tea in your sort of open plan sort of dining room, and you just got back from Disneyland, and you told me
Was
how
it meant
much
to
it's-
open plan, or were you saving your money?
Yeah. But
Couldn't afford to put any walls up, any furniture in.
he told me how much he'd spent in Disneyland, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
I remember there, my holiday, because it was on my mind the whole time, wasn't it? So you're thinking, wow, I remember I'd literally got nothing lined up, because I'd never really had that before as well. So I'd done Sunderland, then you got bought, and then you had Shrewsbury, and for so long, even Shrewsbury, I'd been there for 5 years, so I'd always been all right. And suddenly, Gary Peters released me at the end, and I was like, And like it was scary. And even though everybody's going, you'll be all right. I had Imre Varadi as my agent. I was like ringing him up. Imre, hello mate. Sam here. Any news? No mate. I was like, oh, okay then. I said like, we'll see. Like, is my phone working? Yeah. Like,
Run out of credit.
But it's a scary time. And now you get someone. And I used to get like. You get your mates ringing you up. Like, I had loads of that because of all my pals and all that. Sammy! All right, Sammy, how you doing? Steve Agnew here, Middlesbrough assistant manager. Well, how you fixed for next season? We're thinking about you for a 3-year deal, left wing. How you fixed up? How does $3,000 a week sound? You'd be like... They'd be like, yeah, it's Steve. Obviously, I've got a lot of offers on the table. He goes, shut up, Sam. Of course we don't want you. You were terrible last season. You must have done that, because you're good with the accents, isn't it?
Yeah, I used to do that all the time.
I just put a note in. I remember having one.
I was stupid enough though. I used to do it, and I was out of contract as well.
A lot of calls from PSV and Ajax and that.
Yeah, and I used to do the Terry Tibbs one. Do you remember him? The phrase? Hello, pal, how you doing? All right? Yeah, it's Terry Tibbs from Wimbledon Football Club. And it used to be like that. Wimbledon? Yeah, Terry. Terry were the chief scout there. And used to do all that.
Like, we all used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
But you couldn't gamble though, could you? And say, fuck off.
It's Tim Smith here. I'm Chief Scout QPR. I'm just ringing up on behalf of Ian Holloway. Is that Sam Aston? I'll be yeah, it is. Yeah, it is nice to speak to you. How you fixed for next season? Oh, I've got nothing sorted yet. My agent's got a few things on the go and that. And like, because you couldn't just go, yeah, good one. Yeah. Shut up.
Because if you did it like where you're sort of like, oh, I know it could be my mates having a laugh, but I can't take the chance. Yeah. Whereas I used to go, attacking midfield, talk to me. You're always on that periphery going, I know it's him, but I can't because it might be that guy.
Talk to me.
Yeah, talk to me.
It's a rubbish time though, and then I didn't have any offers for ages. Then suddenly you started getting loads because some people didn't. You wanted someone to do the business early, don't you? But a lot of the time they were looking around, probably had like 3 or 4 targets, and probably going for.
You said you want
3 or 4 targets, and they've fallen through. Then the next 3 or 4 targets have fallen through. And they're going, on this 11, it's Sam Aston. Like, I don't know, we'll struggle. I remember though when at Shrewsbury, I think I've said this before as well. Like Holly was like, "What's happening?" I was like, "Right, Yeovil." I went to Yeovil. I was like, "Right, might be living in Yeovil." Then it was like Bristol City. I don't know. It could be Bristol City. So having a look at that. Then I agreed to sign for
Grimsby. You said
Grimsby. That was it. Yeah, and like Grimsby. And I was like, "What's that like?" And I was like, "Brilliant for fish and chips." That is. You get some good fish there at Grimsby.
Schools aren't great and the employment and that, but
but I tell you what, you battered fish from Grimsby is absolutely, the batter is unbelievable, like top
quality.
And then so all the time you haven't got a clue where you're going to be, but at least then there was like offers. But then towards the end, like when I got released from Wrexham, like Dean Saunders offered half my wages, and it was like relentless, and I was like 35 or something. I was going 34, and I was like, what are you going to do? Like half my wages, and it was a massive commitment. I remember ringing him up, and I was like, Hiya Gaffer, it's Sam Aston, and Dean Saunders was like, hiya pal, you alright, how you doing? I was like, is there any, I didn't have an agent by then, I was just doing it myself, like I'd sacked off the agents, and I was like, any movement on that money you offered me? He's like, oh, what did I offer you again? Then he didn't have a clue, and obviously he was just like half-hearted, it wasn't that bothered about having you, so I was like, no, I can't do it.
I always found, like, for me, it was such an overpowering feeling. The only way I could do it, I never used to understand the lads that would just sit and wait for the phone. So I just went into like, I was just overly proactive.
Yeah, but you can't look too desperate, can you? If you're ringing everybody up, like, do you not think you look a bit desperate?
No, I get it, but I sort of played it quite well. But I would always be like, oh yeah, just to let you know, I've got a couple of things on the table, but look, I'm really ambitious.
And you go, what?
You're competing at the top of the league. Let's not go into what things. I haven't got it in front of me right now. I mean, it's a big spreadsheet, but like, I can't recall because it's that many.
Yeah, how much have they offered you? They've offered me $2,000 a week. Have they? He's my best mate, their manager. Yeah. When I say two, I mean
that's happened a few times. Yeah. But I was always I never understood the lads that would just sit there and wait. And I did get a good balance, and I thought the only way I coped with it was by being proactive. Whether that was calling my agent, which I didn't have for a very long time, but it did really well for me. But then it just went the wrong way, and then it's almost like for me it was just be proactive. So call my agent,
and you get the truth as well, because you'll speak to your agent. It used to happen to me like all the time, and they'd be like, "Oh yes, we're speaking to Sheffield United, we're speaking to Peterborough, we're speaking to so-and-so. Yeah, they're all interested.
Yeah.
Whereas you prefer to go straight to manager and say, are you interested? No.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know. It's
Well, I
fine.
always found that I suppose from the Championship, more so League One down, I always knew someone who knew someone who knew someone. So if it, well, more so League Two and lower.
Yeah.
So I'd always be like, have you got the assistant manager's number? So if it was like, oh yeah, who would it have been? Oh, at that time, Notts County were interested at one point. So I just got hold of the Notts County first team coach. He's like, yeah, the gaffer spoke a bit about you. I was like, listen, agents obviously telling me and like says he's being proactive. Like, when was the last time they spoke? So I'd just be like, it would seem a little bit busy, but I couldn't understand the lads that would just sit back and wait for the phone to ring, because I'd be like, this is your livelihood. Yeah. Again, you're right, Sam. What I didn't want to do is look desperate, but I felt like I was playing it quite a good balance. But I always seemed to just pull something out of the bag that was where I wanted it to be, really.
Yeah.
I think I remember, like now we have someone suing him. I remember writing a letter. I'm sure I did when I left. I don't know which one. It must have been. She wrote a letter to all the clubs and sent it off.
Yeah.
Like, cause I had an agent, and I've always thought, like, the agent.
You never know what they're doing for you, do they?
Yeah, and he's got.
Fucking hell, you're talking about being desperate. You're writing letters. you're on your typewriter.
Sign me.
You're like Murder, She Wrote.
I'm 6'4", left winger.
Was it handwritten?
Yeah.
Handwritten as well, best handwriting.
Yeah.
Found pen.
6'4", love that one. Both footed.
Like, you never knew with the agents, especially like you'd always want, like, especially when we were younger, we always wanted the best agents. Like, hey, my agent, he's got like Eric Cantona, and you go, brilliant, but how much time is he going to put into you when he's got when he's going to get, he might get a little percentage of what he gets signed on, he's going to get some money. Well, Eric Cantona moving to Man U is going to bring him a lot more money.
It's usually, my agent can get boots, and you're like, yeah, that's
Yeah, great.
Be able to get me Copas whenever I want.
I've got to say, at the moment, I'm dealing a lot with like delusional players, delusional agents. But on the flip side as well, like anything, got some real great guys with a lot of integrity that want to do it right. They're obviously, I get on really.
Just quickly, do you speak more to the players now or the agents about?
Unbelievably, the agents. Unbelievably, I'm talking to a lot more agents than anything else. And I can talk to the player.
What percentage would you say?
I would say 75-25. But what I would say is, even then, I'm talking to the player to a point, and then they'll go, right, I'm not comfortable talking about the money. My agent will sort it out. And then the crazy one is, at obviously our level, which is like National League North, the agent will say, this will be it'll be 5%. And I'll be like, look, it's National League North, so the player wants to instruct you to work on his behalf. It's not a complicated thing, like at the Premier League level, you're talking now about solicitors are involved now, aren't they? Like, a lot of solicitors now have converted into agents at that level, whereas at our level, there's a basic contract and there's a weekly wage, there's an element of bonuses, there's like maybe a few little bits in there so it's not complicated. So I'm almost like, okay, if you've brought him to my attention, that's fine. I totally understand that, but where at that level are you going to get that sort of stuff? So I have to fight with that. But then there's a lot of agents as well who understand that they've probably got lads at Championship or even higher. They've got lads at the top end they're going to make a right few quid of. But then they hope that these lads are going to in turn kick on. But it is. I've got to say, there's 4 or 5 agents that I work with are absolutely superb. There's the rest that are. There's you can just, they're so transparent. Like they come to me and you go, that's just not a starting point. What are you talking about? How ridiculous. But then there's one agent
get the best deal,
that I've never known anything like it. Like one of the agents is like totally delusional, compulsive liar, just completely shot to bits. Just can't even believe he's involved in any form of football. Anyone would rely on him to look after their living.
A negative impact on his client, on the player?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and but then if the client's stupid enough to go with that said agent, then and they call themselves.
Does the client know how their agent is acting on their behalf?
I'm pretty forthcoming in. Well, you say young lads, like not always, but I'm pretty forthcoming in just saying, look, just want to let you know, I'm sending you some screenshots. I never want to talk bad of anyone. However, I don't think they're acting in your best interests. But equally as well, I'm quite lucky because I suppose with being with Brackley, the first thing you say to players is, look, I'm an honest guy. And that's disingenuous in itself, isn't it? Because they're like, well, I've known you 2 minutes. Now I'm 12 months in. I've never lied to these lads. And everything I've said, I've gone with. Because I prided myself as a player to say, look, if I ever go into management, I'm going to do the uncomfortable stuff.
You're still going to try and get the best deal, aren't you, for the club?
Well, yeah, of course. But it has to fit into my budget. So, yes, of course, you have a responsibility to the football club. But then I liaise with the chairman. So you also want to get the best, you want to get a balance because you want to get the best deal for the player, knowing that you want to ask as much of him as you possibly can, and then he feels valued. But equally, has to be a point where and I'll liaise with the chairman and the CEO all the time, and they'll just go, well, yeah, that's ridiculous now. But it'll be part of your budget. So you balance it off and almost, spread it out. But to be honest, I always said to myself that because of managers that you'd worked under, I'll always just be honest. So I've done the uncomfortable things. You don't want to say to players that, this is why you're out of the team and tell them the honest truth. So with players now, I've got 12 months of their trust, but then new players are coming in and I'm saying, do you know my captain? Do you know so-and-so? Talk to them about what we want to do. Look, we want to get you the best deal, but it's got to be within our budget. So look, if it gets to a point where you're asking for more than what we can pay in our budget, then I'll happily just say to you, look, that's enough now.
But now you've been there a year, then they can speak to, like you said, your players, and then all of a sudden you're credible then, aren't you?
Yeah, and that's where you hope. It's just, this year has just never been, I've never known it to be so tough because the expectation of money now, and because the cost of living's so high, lads now go, well, if I'm going to play football, and you're like, well, we're part-time, but there's full-time teams in our league that we're competing with. So I'll lose players because they'll go, I want to be full-time. So they'll pay 52 weeks, and obviously as a part-time club, you don't pay that. So you pay like 46 weeks or whatever. So you're competing with that all the time. So when you're signing players, someone will go, oh, that's a great signing. I'll just go, we don't know the half of it because you've got so-and-so and so-and-so to compete with. And Brackley's a bit of a strange catchment area as well. Yeah. So we've done pretty well in that. And
one more question. Do you pay, so for 52 weeks, do you balance it out and paying for 52 weeks,
no.
Or is it just 46 weeks?
They get there like 42 or 46 weeks, whatever it looks like. And there's an element of holiday in there, but it's that's what you're competing against.
Manage their money because they don't get paid.
Yeah, so we're now, I think there's 7 clubs in our league that are going to be full time,
and that's when you're not an Apper as well.
That's when you're not getting paid.
That's when you need it most. Yeah, but that's where. There's 7 clubs in our league, I think, who are full time. That's the top 7 that get in the playoffs. So we've got to better those full time teams. We've got to recruit better. We've got to try and be the most professional, semi-professional team in the country.
Have you had this? Well, I'm sure you're going to say yes to that. So where you've gone, like an agent's come in and gone, this is what they've been offered elsewhere. They've been offered £1,000 somewhere else.
Good luck.
When you go, right, well, we can't do anything with it, so thanks, we'll have to shake hands. Then 2 hours later, you get a phone call. Actually, can we have a talk, actually?
I reckon I've had that at least 15 times this off-season. Yeah.
So
okay, listen.
No problem. Okay, that's no problem. They go away and they go, oh, I need to ring them. Don't ring them back yet.
No, I really respect the fact you've been honest with me from the start. That's great. Listen, we're never going to get anywhere near that. So, listen, wish him all the best. If anything changes, let us know. 2 weeks later. Any movement on that? No, mate, we're still where we are. Okay, well, we're ready to come to the table. But it goes the other way a little bit as well. Not that we do, because we're not silly with players. We're not going to offer them £100 when they're worth 300 quid. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to be fair. So all I say is like, look, let us bring the best that we can give, and you tell us whether you can do it. So I said to one player, I'm just not a negotiator. I'm just going to tell you what is the best that we can give you. Yeah. Yes, you'll negotiate with the chairman everything, the bonuses, but this is the best we can give you. And he went, I put it on the table, and he went, oh, right, yeah, well, if we could go a bit more. I'm like, you're not listening. We're not going any more than that. And in the end, he was like, well, I'll walk away then, come back 2 weeks later and signed. Because he was just like, what? Like,
but do you try and do, like, which is obviously beneficial, get like on appearance money, goal bonuses and stuff like that?
Yeah,
so instead of getting whatever you might get.
Yeah, I'll manage the weekly budget and everything will have to be proofed. So I'll negotiate bonuses, but everything will have to be proofed by the chairman and the CEO, who then go to...
But it seems like a sensible way of doing it then, doesn't it? Because obviously then if they're performing, they're getting paid more. And it's
it should be like that. A lot of them obviously want to just push to get, because again, from their perspective as a player, you want to know where you are. You want to know what's coming in every month.
You worry about injuries, don't you? I mean, we used to have that with appearance money and goal bonuses, and you go, that's all very well, but if I break my leg,
and at this level as well, it's like it's more often than not 1 year deals. So. They do want to push. I understand from a player and an agent's perspective. Yeah. I get on a lot. I get on well with the players and the agents, and there's never any animosity there because I understand what they're trying to do. The only time I get frustrated is it's like when I'm going, look, you're being delusional now because it's just, I've told you that we can't go any more than that, and what you're asking for, you should be getting at a full-time club. Maybe in a league above. We're never going to do that. And I think, really, Brackley's been a little bit of a victim of his success over the last few years because they're always in and around it. We obviously got to the playoff final this year. So people just assume and presume that wow, you're like, I spoke to a mate of mine at Northampton. He's like the coach there, and he was like, mate, you won't get in, but then again, money talks. I went, you got some money then? Like, you know, don't get me wrong, like we're competitive, but players just then assume because you've done well that you're just paying ridiculous. And then, but again, that's something that just goes around as hearsay, and then you're up against that again, aren't you? You're always, but that's every club. Every club's got Chinese whispers, and some, like one agent told me what he said, your top players on this amount, and I just went, mate, I don't know what you do know. This is Gavin Cowan of Brackley Town. Like, it's not, you're talking completely the wrong manager. So it's very strange. And I feel for the players because they're signing a 1-year deal. They want the best that they can get. They know they've got to perform. They know they've got to get in the 11 from a 17, 18 man squad. So I do empathise with it because again, going back to what we said, I've been there. You know, when you get into the end of a contract every year, it's a hard place to be. The lads actually show a lot more patience now than ever. And I don't know whether that's just delusion or whether they're a little bit more laid back or the agents play a better game at telling them, like, you'll be all right, you'll be all right, you'll be all right. I don't know. But a lot of players I'm talking to at the moment are just very laid back, very chilled out. And I'm like, we're literally starting tomorrow.
I think, well, probably because they come at fit as well, but I think we've ended up talking a little bit about money there, but because it's the crux of everything, isn't it? A lot of the time, isn't it? Because everybody goes, oh, you know, why have you signed for this club? And if we're all honest, everybody does the interviews like I do. When I was signed for Northampton, as I said that, I've always been a fan of Northampton Town. Like, of course, it's not whoever offers you the most money.
I'll tell you what though, you say that, and that's definitely the case as a rule of thumb. I'm just about to sign a player next week, and he wants to play for us, and I know he's getting offered left, right, and centre, and he wants to come to us, and it's like so humbling.
How much difference in money? Tenner.
Yeah, it's about 10. But it's so humbling because he wants to play for us. Yeah. And you just think, flipping it. Like, that's
I think be a privileged position to do that. Because if someone, if you get offered double the money somewhere else, like, you know.
Well, I'm telling you that, this lad, and I agree with you, as a rule of thumb, you're absolutely right. But on this occasion, he's coming because he knows he wants to be successful and he thinks he can be.
And I think it's different if you're late in your career than 100%. Yeah. I think 32, 33, and you're getting offered more money somewhere else, and it fits in with your family and stuff, do it. But I think, like, an example is when I was younger and I knew that Peterborough wasn't the right move for me. And I know lads this summer I spoke to are like, they've offered me this, but they're the league below. Like, they've offered me loads more, but I still think I can go to there. Yeah. And I got to get myself to a club where that will suit me. And give
I had that mentality, but I was 28.
Yeah. That was part of the long-term strategy,
because then the next move, the next move, and then
thinking a bit longer term.
I had it, didn't I? I had like 4 or 5 offers from League Two and went to the National League in the conference because the money was just like far greater. Like, not even a conversation. In the end, it's like, I get it. And
looking back, obviously, you can say it's the right decision because it gave you the chance to build your business and do all that sort of stuff. You look at the position now, he's like, I made the right decision. But from a football point of view, do you sometimes think,
I got to 29 and I realised, I'd got to 29 and I knew I wasn't going to be playing in the Championship.
5 years younger, different decision?
A different conversation, yeah. But even then, it's like, if you're 5 years younger but you've had 2 kids, what do you do then? I mean,
if they need feed, it depends on the money.
It depends on the scenario. But you're right. For me, I was 29 and I was like, right, I'm not playing in the Championship. What I'm doing is, at the moment, is the last couple of years I'd scratched for a year contract, and then I was doing all right, and I thought I could go and be a bit of a big fish in a little pond and make a bit of money. And it was a 2-year deal as well.
Start the rest of your life.
And it was like, that was it really. That was the.
We've had, I know lads in the League of Wales who are part time. They've been offered money to go full time and play in the league and stuff, but like, they're getting offered worse money than they are part time, whilst they've got a job as well, which they're developing their career.
I tell you,
it depends on the other job as well. And what if they're building another career and that's a focus? I suppose that's when it's different, isn't it? But if they're going to be a footballer, you're going to have to swallow that, aren't you?
Yeah. The catalyst for me was Stewie Whitehead, because he got to 33 and just gone, oh shit, what am I going to do? Because he was coming to the end. His legs were sort of hanging off because he was always very dynamic and quick and that, So, but he was 5 years older than me, and I was like, he was like, oh shit, what am I going to do? And I just thought, I was looking around, and I was at the time I was seeing a lot of players coming to the end who was scratching around. And I always go back to the story of meeting Tony English, who was a bit of a Colchester United legend, and I saw him at Colchester Zoo, and he was there with his backpack, and we ended up getting chatting. And his kids were playing, and I was there with my nephew, best mate at the time. And it was a case of having a chat with him, and he was just like, "Yeah, I was there for 10 years. I was on no money. Give me a testimonial, $5,000. Don't like I have to pay for a ticket now." And I was just, I don't know if it's something just sat in the back of my mind. I saw Stewie Whitehead, and he's obviously gone on and done brilliant for himself, but he just got to 33 and was like, "Shit, I better start thinking."
Spits you out quickly, football does.
Yeah, really quickly.
Doesn't remember you.
Right, well,
that's positive.
finish on that. Yeah,
Brilliant.
football rubbish. Don't right. Hope you listen, kids. Don't bother with football.
Deter your kids from playing football.
No, it's interesting that we have spoke about money, and it's going to be an interesting off season. We're going to be keen to see who you sign, Gav, and how it goes, and hopefully you're going to be able to tell us a few stories about.
I can't wait. When it's all done, I'm desperate to tell you a couple of stories because it's hilarious. Not at the time, but
I think we're all past that now, aren't we? I don't think you're going to get any more offers, Dave. Are you? Are you still waiting for the phone?
No, stop ringing, mate. Stop ringing. I haven't changed my number. Still the same number. Yeah, still available.
I'm still available as well.
I'm going to play pre-season for Brackley.
Shut.
I am. Yeah, I'm going to play. I'm going to play number 10, and I'm going to take.
I knew it would be 10.
Yeah, be the 10. I'll be on free kicks, corners, and goal kicks. So I haven't told them yet. But
Right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Cheers,
Have
everyone.
a lovely summer. Speak to you later.
Come on, England.